Hi, everyone. I want to talk to you today about how to make pie charts and bar charts in Google Sheets and a time when you might want to do such a thing, like what sort of data might you have and what kind of format do you need to have it in order to use it. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to be doing this data right here. So this is the data display notes, and I'm going to do the pie charts and bar charts in Sheets. You can make Pareto charts in Sheets, but it's not particularly easy. You have to kind of kludge it together and use some commands that are a little bit beyond what I'm going for here. I really just want to introduce you to the chart function in Sheets more than anything else. And so I'm going to show you how to make pie charts and bar charts. So these are pie charts and bar charts are both for qualitative data. So let me scroll down here. They're both for qualitative data, similar to tables. They basically do very similar things in the sense that they use the size of something, pie slices or bars, in order to represent how many things are in that category, right? And so we're going to start with pie charts. One thing to note about pie charts that's a little bit different than bar charts is that pie charts only work if you have one category and everything in that category is in your chart. It has to all add up to 100% is what I'm getting at here. So you might say, well, how else could we have a chart? Could we have such a chart? Well, one thing you can do, like for instance, you could have a poll that says, which of these appliances do you have in your home? Like refrigerator, microwave, telephone, computer, etc. Right? A bunch of things where people could have more than one, right? And so you could have 95% of people live in a household with a refrigerator and 82% have a microwave. And so that adds up to more than 100%, right? So you can't really put that in a pie chart. You can do a bar chart with that and it'd be great, but not a pie chart. So there's that little extra requirement for a pie chart is everything's got to add up to 100%. So anyway, the data I'm going to use is this. This is the SPCC ethnic breakdown from 2015. And so we've got our various categories: African American, Asian, Filipino, Hispanic, etc., and the number in that category. So I've already typed this into Sheets just to save a little bit of time. So let's go ahead and go over there. That's this. So here I am in Google Sheets. I've typed in the categories here in column A and the number in column B. And it's nice because Sheets will default to thinking of these as labels and these as counts, which is pretty helpful, actually. If you're using a different statistical program, it doesn't always do that so nicely. Like Excel won't assume like that, and other more complicated ones like SPSS are even more of a mess in that respect. Now, one of the things you might want to do, or you might notice here, is one of the categories is this one, American Indian / Alaskan Native. You can't see that here. That doesn't mean it won't show up in the chart, but if you want to see it, you can adjust the size of these. I like to make it so that everything's visible. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to make it make this all visible here. And other than that, you basically just have to select your data and go to Insert Chart. There's a couple places you can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and select this here. This button is Insert Chart. You can also go to Insert and Chart. It's the same. It's effectively the same thing. So we do that. Give it a second. It has to kind of grind. It has to kind of think about what it's seeing. So it defaults to in this case, pie chart, which is great. That's the one we actually want to make, and it's labeled everything for us really nicely. This is why I like Sheets a lot. Google Sheets does a really good job of kind of knowing what's going to be a sane thing to do and just doing it for you. Now, on the other hand, sometimes you don't want to do the thing that it defaults to. Luckily, we can customize it however we want, pretty much, right? So here's our basic setup. It tells us where our data is. The labels, notice that it defaulted to, it knew where the labels were in, knew where we put the labels in A1 to A10, so that's A1 through A10 here, and it knew where the values were in B1 through B10, right? It figured out what we were going to do based on what people usually do. There's a few things we might want to change here, though, right? So we can customize our chart in a bunch of different ways. We can change the background colors. We can change the slice colors. You click on a slice here, you can change the color of one slice, which is nice, right? That's the pie slice, and so you can change whichever one you want, and it'll bring you right to what you want to change there. Like, let's say I want to make the, am I on Hispanic here? Yeah, I want to make Hispanic. Let's not make it that terrible color. That looks awful. Let's make it blue, right? Want to make Hispanic dark blue? I can, right? I can also explode it out, right? I can make it a little. I can. It's called exploding. I can make it look a little different if I want to highlight that particular slice. I can put a title on it somewhere. There we go, chart and axis title. So chart title, we can have SBCC ethnic breakdown 2015. That one. There we go. That's what I'm trying to do. There we go, and it'll put a title for us, and we can move this title around if we want. We can like drag it in various places. It's great. There's a lot of stuff you can do. You can make a chart look pretty much how you want it to, which is nice. Here I'm gonna go put this back in the middle, back to not unexploded. You can change the labels, right? So if I click on these, it's going to take me to the legend and where I can change the labels. I can make them bigger. I can say whether I want them to be percents or numbers somewhere. I'm pretty sure I can do that in here. I'm sure that option's in here somewhere. I'm not gonna worry about it for right now. Just poke around in the options and you'll be able to figure out whatever you want, however you want to make your chart. It's really quite user friendly, to be honest. Yeah, so that's pie charts. There's not much to it. The size of the pie slice represents how many things are in that category. I kind of like pie charts in a visual sense. Like you can sort of see how many white people and Hispanic people there are at SBCC or were 5 years ago, compared to, or I guess it's 6 years ago now, compared to how many American Indians or 2 or more races, or people with 2 or more races, right? Like you get really a lot of white and Hispanic people and not so many American Indians. And pie charts do a great job of that. You can also rearrange your pie charts. I don't remember exactly where that option is. It's in here somewhere. Slice label, no, it's in here somewhere. I will leave it to you to figure out how you might want to rearrange those. But that's how you make a pie chart. You make a bar chart in roughly the same way. Oh, before I do that, the way you can get this into a document nicely is up here. These 3 buttons, or there's 3 dots in the upper right, are allow you to do a variety of things. I want to copy this chart because I'm going to paste it into a document, right? This is what you're going to end up doing a lot of the time with your charts, is you're going to paste them into some word processing document so that you can use them as pictures in the document. So I'm going to copy chart here, and I've still got my table from the previous video here. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste it in here. It doesn't really go here, but paste chart. Oh, interesting. I didn't know it automatically did this. Sure, I'll go ahead and link it to the spreadsheet. And then if you change the spreadsheet, it should change the chart here. Like let's go with that, right? If I go here, if I change this to, oh, hello, I'd like to edit that. Instead of 1107, what if it's just 100? Right, so that changes the chart here, and I believe it'll change the chart over here too. Yeah, it does. Wait, did it do that? No, it didn't. Oh, there we go. There's the update button. You have to tell it to update, and then it'll change the chart in here. So you can link these two things together. This was a function in Word and Excel that used to be called paste special. It never worked correctly in my experience. It was a pain in the neck. Let's re-update that chart so it looks correct. There we go. So there's the chart that I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and move this chart off to the side. Actually, I think I will put it on page 2. If you want to add a sheet, you can have more than one sheet in a document in Google Sheets. I'm going to stick the charts here in sheet 2, the one that I'm not using. Hello. I'd like to grab you. There we go. We should be able to put it here. Yeah. Great sheet 2 now. Nope. No, I'm just down. How do you move this? Cut and paste. All right, cut and paste. Except it didn't cut. Whatever. I just deleted it and pasted it onto the other one. I bet there's a nicer way. Someone better with Google Sheets can probably tell you how to do that. Or is it on sheet 2 now? Yeah, it is. Okay, so back on sheet 1. So I'm going to make a bar chart. So bar charts are like pie charts, except a little bit more flexible. Let's go here. Do the notes. So there's pie charts. Bar charts are like pie charts, but you're not restricted to having things only add up to 100%. The number of things in the category is represented by the size of the bar, of course. Yeah, and so let's see how to do that. In Google Sheets, it's relatively straightforward. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to select a different chart type. That's pretty much it, and then modify it as we like. So I've got my data selected. So again, you have to select the data that you want to put in your chart. Hit the chart button, and it's a pie chart again, of course, because that's what it defaults to. But you can choose whatever kind of chart you want. Hello, there we go, pie chart. So we've got call these column charts and bar charts. These are really they're the same chart, just tipped on its side. Let's go ahead and make a column chart. So as you can see, we've got our various categories and the number and the bars with the things in those categories. You can change your bars just like you change your pie slices, right? You can make them look different. I can make these red, for instance. There we go, they're red now. I could make my legend look a little bit different if I wanted to, change it to bold or italic or both. I'm not going to worry too much about that, but again, poke around in here, do what you want to do with your chart, make it look like you want it to look. What I do want to do though is notice that these are very hard to see, right? Like you have no idea how many people are in the Pacific Islander category here. It's because the white and Hispanic categories are kind of drowning everything else out, right? The axis has to go up to 15,000 to get all the white people in, and that kind of crowds out the Pacific Islanders and the other non-white category, right? You can't tell how many people are in that. You can notice that it's a lot less, but you can't tell how many there are. So what I want to do is I want to include labels, right? Where are the data labels? It's in here. Chart and axis titles. No, let's see here. There we go, data labels. That's what I'm looking for. Put those on, and now you can see them, right? I can see how many are in each category, really helpful. Definitely include your axis or include your data labels, especially if things are hard to read. If one category is much larger, one or two categories are much larger than the others, it'll make your chart a lot easier to read. So there we go. I'm going to include data labels. I definitely want those. I also want to put a title on it. I'm going to make it the same title. Chart title. Yes, chart title. That's what I'm looking for. This was SBCC Ethnic Breakdown 2015. Right. So you really want to get in the habit of labeling everything that you're doing. Like if you make a chart, label the chart. It's just good policy because otherwise it's not clear what your chart is representing, but now you can just say what's in it. And again, there's so many different options that you can do here. I'm not going to explore all of them. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at that, I think. But again, I want to copy paste this into, let's see here. Let's go ahead and copy the chart, and we'll go ahead and put it over here. Hello. Copy, it'll go onto the next page. And I want to explore a little bit of what you can do with charts, or really pictures in docs, right? There's a little bit you can do here that's not just paste them and leave them, right? So there's a lot of things that you can do to to your picture. So if I right click on this, it gives me a lot of options here. The first one that I like to use now, well, in this case, it's not that necessary. You can crop, which I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it lets you adjust how much stuff is included and cut out extra white space. Right? I don't really want to do this here. This is not really appropriate cropping. It was cropped just fine as it was. Just wanted to show you what it's doing. So notice the picture is still there, but it's only showing this little portion, or it's only showing a little bit less of it. And that lets you cut out unnecessary white space. It's really helpful to make your pictures look nice. Don't get used to crop it, like leave a little border. Don't just crop everything off, but you can crop out, like if you have lots and lots of stuff lots of unnecessary white space, which happens sometimes with pictures, you can crop it off. There's lots of stuff that you can do here with it. One of the most important things is the text wrapping. So if you want to highlight something, you probably want to do like this. So it's currently in line with text, which is terrible. That's not the one you want. In line with text is almost always wrong. So what it's doing is, like, you see how big this chart is. It's treating that like one big letter. Like if I try to type here, let's do this. Where's my cursor? Hello, cursor? Okay. It won't let me move it around very easily. Oh shoot, that's I definitely don't want to do that. Sorry, that slid the image within the crop, so that the image, it was showing the same size of image, but moving where it was showing, which is not what I want to do at all. What I want to do is I want to try and move it around. I think I can't until I do this. So if I can sort of bury it inside the text, that's what this is. So if I have some text, it'll put the picture inside it. So let's do this. Here is some text, and so we're going to go ahead and make a bunch of these. Right, so here's some text. Let's say this was text that was maybe describing this chart. What you can do if you've got it the text wrapping. So one thing you can do is you can resize your chart. Use these corners. Don't use the sides. You can technically use the sides, but it's a bad idea. Let's undo that for a second so I can see. I'm gonna make a page break here so that it doesn't try to slide it back onto the previous page. Page breaks are Control Enter, by the way. They're probably in there somewhere. So if I want to resize this, hello, sorry, it thinks I right clicked. I'm not a big fan of my trackpad. All right, so I'm grabbing this, and notice that it's keeping it the same shape, which is that's called the aspect ratio, is the ratio of height to width, and it's keeping it the same shape and just changing the size of it, which is great. Now it looks nice. If you do this, it will squash it, and it looks bad when you do that. So don't do that. I'm just going to undo that. Undo that. Okay. Keep the aspect ratio the same by using the diagonal or by using the corners. And notice what it did with the text wrapping, right? So I've got this picture sitting in the middle of the text, right? Don't put it in the middle. This looks really bad if you do it, by the way. You probably want it on the side. Something like this, right? That looks okay. In general, if you're trying to highlight a chart, so if you've got something important that you want to highlight, you probably want this option. This will put it in the middle and break the text around it, which looks pretty good, right? This does a very good job of highlighting this chart. It makes it look like this chart is the most important thing going, which it probably is if you're putting it in your text. You might want to slide it left or right. So just a couple of tips on moving things around. You can just freehand it. That is usually the worst option. It has guides, like you can see when I get it near the middle, that red line is the center guide. That means if I put it right here, it's centered, and that's good. That's what I want. You can also right click on this and use the various what am I looking for here? in the image options, you should have some size changes. Whoops, did it not do that? What the heck happened there? Image options. Oh, sorry, they're over here. My bad. That'll let you choose where you want to put it. Like if you can put it in the center if you want. You can get very specific with with where you want it to be. That is usually the best way to do it. If you want to move things around, you can just freehand it, and the guides are really nice. It will, if you want to be super precise though, you want to use the numbers here, right? The positioning, all that stuff, size, right? If you want two charts to be exactly the same size, you can come in here and make them exactly the same size rather than resizing by hand. Resizing by hand is usually the worst option. Yeah, if you want to be precise, use these guys. Yeah, and so that's really what I wanted to say here. Get in the habit of like breaking your text with the chart. You change the text wrapping on it. This one is the one that I see students use most often. It is terrible. Don't use inline with text. It's basically never right. Use this one or this one. I use this one a lot. I use this one if I'm really trying to feature something. This works with any picture, by the way. You don't have to, it's not just with charts. It works with any picture you include. Yeah. And that's really what I wanted to say about bar charts and pie charts. So you're going to want to make your pie charts. I like Sheets for making pie charts. You can use whatever program you want. The other ones that I've tried, Excel and the various statistical programs that I've used, none of them are as user-friendly as Sheets. Sheets is by far the easiest one to use that I've seen. It does most of the stuff correctly, which is a nice change from SPSS and Excel, which seem to deliberately do things wrong, in my experience. But Sheets makes things pretty sane, and it integrates nicely with Docs, so you can use Sheets and Docs together. Yeah, and Docs, I will say, has improved with their pictures. People have asked me if they can use Google Docs for their homeworks or their various assignments. And I've always said in the past that Google Docs didn't integrate very well with pictures, but I don't think that's really true anymore. I haven't had any problems with pictures in a year or two now. Google Docs, it used to break them all the time. Like anything you imported, it would end up broken. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So I would go ahead and recommend Google Docs now, or you can use whatever you have, Pages or Word or some other program if you're already comfortable with it. But I've been enjoying Docs lately for the options that it's got, especially the integration options with Sheets. So I think that's kind of all I want to say about pie charts and bar charts and how to make nice looking documents in Docs and put data into Sheets. There's a lot more to do in Sheets that we're going to do a little bit later. But for right now, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and I will see you guys later.